Can you hear me now? 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 All right. All right. Can you hear me now? Testing one. Can you hear me now? All right. Praise the name of the Lord. Well, if you would go ahead, greet me. I see several of you already commenting in the comments. If you would greet me, let me know that you're joining us tonight for our first deeper Bible study in about a month. We took the month of July off for our season of consecration, and we are back again tonight, uh, resuming our deeper Bible study. And while you're greeting me, if you would go ahead and hit that share button, let somebody know that we're in the virtual space and that we are preparing to open the Word of God and that they want to be touched by the truth that we're going to share on tonight. All right. And while we're going through this lesson, I invite you to engage with me in the comments. I invite you to hit the like button, hit the heart button, make sure that we're seen in the social media algorithm. And the more you do it, the more the people will see us, the more the people will be able to hear what we are sharing with you from the scriptures. All right, I want to get started very quickly. The first thing I want to do tonight, I need to get a commitment from you. I need you to commit to being in all 5 deeper Bible studies in the month of August. Every Tuesday for the month of August. I want you to commit to not missing one of these deeper Bible studies. I've not taught on this subject since I've been the pastor of this church. This will be my first time truly teaching in this way, and I want you to get all that the Lord has put on my heart to share with you in regard to this subject. So if you would, if you're going to make that commitment, that pledge to be in deeper Bible study with me every Tuesday in the month of August, if you would, go ahead, put some ones in the comments. Let me know that you're with me. Right. If you're going to be here on Tuesdays with me, put some ones in the comments. Let me know that you're going to be with me. I see you. I see you. I see you. We'll have 3 weeks virtual and 2 weeks hybrid where we'll be in person and virtual, but I don't want you to miss any of this. All right? We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter number 16 tonight. 1 Corinthians chapter 16. We're going to do verses 1 through 4. I'm going to try my best to get as much of this in as I can. If I can't get as much as I want to, I especially have to deal with verse 2. All right, so our goal is to get as much of it as we can. If we can't get all of it, we especially want to get all the way through verse 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 1 through 4. I'm reading from the New American Standard Version of the text. Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I directed the churches of Galatia, so do you also. On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save as he may prosper, so that no collections be made when I come. When I arrive, whomever you approve, I will send them with letters to carry your gift to Jerusalem. And if it is fitting for me to go also, they will go with me. I want to label our study, it's going to be our label for the month, our label for the night, Paul's philosophy of financial stewardship. Paul's philosophy of financial stewardship. Now, the text that we've read together tonight, if we take a very narrow look at the text, it deals with the collection for the poor saints at Jerusalem. This is the subject of verses 1 through 4. Paul is talking about a benevolence offering that he is raising throughout all of the Gentile congregations to support the poor saints at Jerusalem. That's the narrow look. The broad look is that Paul is giving us his philosophy of financial stewardship. This is his philosophy of financial stewardship, and that is why we're labeling this Paul's philosophy of financial stewardship. Now, there are two key words that we need to pull from this title. The first word I want you to put in the comments is this word philosophy. Come on, put that word philosophy in the comments. Philosophy. Philosophy. This word philosophy describes for us what a person believes, that's one, and two, how that person behaves in a particular discipline. So if you are a teacher, most teachers have a philosophy of teaching. I, as your pastor, have a philosophy of preaching, a philosophy of pastoral ministry. Most doctors have a philosophy of practicing medicine and so forth and so on. Depending upon the discipline, they have developed a philosophy based on what they believe that particular discipline should be. That's one. And then because I believe this about this discipline, now I have these set behaviors that I'm going to do because I believe what I believe about this discipline. Prime example for me, my discipline is in preaching. And so one of the things about that I believe about preaching is that the preacher must always be prepared. That there should never be a time that I stand before you to proclaim the word of God and not be prepared. And because I believe that, my behavior says that I have to spend time in the study of the word. I have to spend time reading and meditating and musing over the word, that I'm not just keeping it in my head, I'm putting it down on paper. I am prepared. Why? Because the preacher of the gospel should never stand unprepared. That's a part of my philosophy. And so what we have here is Paul presenting his philosophy. This is what he believes. This is how he believes we should behave. Now, there's a second word here that we need to pull out of this title, and that word is stewardship. Come on, put that word stewardship in the comments. The word is stewardship. Now, when we start talking about stewardship, we're talking about the management of something that belongs to someone else. Stewardship says, this is not mine, it belongs to someone else. But they've entrusted it to me to manage it. So, early in this lesson, I'm going to have you make a confession in the comments that's going to be a little hard for you. I know it's going to be a little hard. I know it's going to be a little hard, but we're going to get through it together. I'm going to put it on the screen. And I want you to put it in the comments. Here it is. It is not my money. Come on, put it in the comments for me. It is not my money. But Pastor, I worked 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 80 hours a pay period, 160 hours a month. I earned that money. Well, where did your job get it from? Your job got it from somewhere in order to give it to you. Where did they get it from? Oh, they got it from the patrons of the business. Okay, great. Where did they get it from? What I'm driving here is the law of rightful ownership, which says everything belongs to God. Everything belongs to God. Everything. You belong to him. Your house belongs to him. Your car belongs to him. That money in your pocket belongs to him. Your children, your friends, your job, your church, everything belongs to God. And what has God done? God has entrusted his things to you and said, I want you to manage what belongs to me. It's not yours. I'm giving it to you as a stewardship. I want you to manage this. I'm trusting you to manage this, which seems to suggest to us that if you're stuck on little, it's because God can't trust you with more. If you be faithful over a little, I'll give you much, but I can't give you much until I can trust you with the little you have. If I can't give you a $5 bill and trust you to handle that $5 properly, why would I give you 50 or 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 or 500,000 or 5 million? Why would I give you more if you can't handle what you have? It's not mine, it's his. And because it is his, he has entrusted me with what is his. And he says, if you can do good with this, if I can trust you to handle this, if I can trust you with 100 air, I'll trust you with 1,000 air. And maybe we might get to a millionaire, but I'm not going to take you to a millionaire until you do good on 1,000 air. And if you don't make it 1,000 air, it's probably because you didn't do good with 100 air. And so when you come to 1 Corinthians 16, the question on the table is, how do we handle giving? That's the narrow lens. The very narrow lens is, how do we handle giving to this collection? But if we expand it out a little wider, it becomes, how do we handle our finances? How do we handle our money? God has blessed us with his resources. What do I do with them? And Paul answers in a very straightforward way. No fluff, no beating around the bush. Paul answers in a very straightforward way. And his answer is, and here's the thesis of the night's lesson, we must be intentional with how we steward God's resources. We must be intentional with how we steward God. Why don't you put that word in the comments? The word is intentional. It's in all caps on your screen. The word is intentional. We must be intentional with how we handle God's resources. The word is intentional. The word is intentional. Now, there's a root word in this word intentional, and that root word is intention. That if God has given you some resources, you ought to have some intentions to handle what he's given you. Well, what's an intention? You should have a plan. If God gave you the amount of money that you really want right now, do you have a plan for what you do with it? We're in Georgia, if the Lord breathed on your mind and gave you those numbers, and you just so happen to win the lottery, what's your intentions? What's your plans? Ride down to the casino, and by chance you hit big. Do you have an intention? You get a bonus on your job. What's the plan? What's the plan based on? The plan should be based on your philosophy, what you believe about money, how you behave with money. Paul's answer to the Corinthian church is that if God can get it to you, you need to have a plan on what you're going to do with it. All right? I'm going to skip verse number 1 where he deals with this collection, and I'm going to jump right into verse 2, okay? We're going to jump right into verse 2. Now, I need to say this before we get into verse 2. What we're fixing to discuss is basic principles. So that means very narrowly, they apply directly to the offering that Paul is talking about in the text. It is explicitly written in the text, verse 1, that he's talking about the collection for the poor saints in Jerusalem. But we can zoom the lens out. And when we zoom the lens out, this is about how you handle your money in general. This isn't just about how you handle the offering, although it applies to the offering. It also deals with how you handle your money in general, okay? So listen. It's finna get tight. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. But we're gonna get through it together. If you're gonna hang in here with me, go ahead, put some twos in the comments if you're gonna hang in here with me. Come on, give me some twos if you're gonna hang in here with me. All right, I see. Verse 2 says that Paul has a standard way of handling finances. Paul has a standard for handling money. Now, there are three different ways, three different kinds of financial stewardship, or another way to say that, three different ways you can handle your money. I love you in advance. Most of us are sporadic, which means I have it in my pocket, I go in the store, I randomly see something that I want with no consideration of my bills or my mortgage or my car note or any of the other responsibilities that I have. I see it, I want it, I buy it. Sporadic. Anybody other than the pastor been guilty of being a sporadic manager of money? Just sporadic. No rhyme, no reason, no plan. I got some money in my pocket, and whatever I spend it on, and when it's gone, it's gone. Most of us handle our money sporadically. Here's the second. Then not just sporadic, there's sacrificial management of money. Show you how this works, sacrificial management of money. So the refrigerator breaks. And now, even though you didn't have the money to buy a new refrigerator, other things have to be put on the back burner because we got to sacrifice to get this refrigerator. Anybody identify with that? Anybody identify with that? Go ahead, put some threes in the comments if you can identify with what I'm saying. Hey, it wasn't in the plan, but it was necessary, so I had to spend it anyway. Now, let me go back to this sporadic because I only talked about it in the wide, broad sense. Let me bring it to giving. Sporadic givers are people who only get their offering together when they get to church. They've not planned what they give. So you might get $1 this Sunday, you might get $5 next Sunday. If they got the income tax or got a stimulus check, you may get 10. But there's no rhyme or reason to their giving. It's very sporadic. You may not get anything from them at all. Now, using giving, we're going to come over here to sacrificial. Sometimes the Lord will press on your heart to give something more than you would regularly give. The Lord blessed me a few years ago. And when the Lord blessed me, He pressed upon my heart to give a sacrificial offering. It's still hard to talk about it even now because it was 5 figures before the decimal point. 5 figures. One offering, 5 figures. I even tried to use the first lady. I went to the first lady hoping she was going to say, no, I don't know if we should do that. And went to her and she talking about, if the Lord told you to do it, baby, go on and do it. It's not an often thing. It's not all the time. But sometimes the Lord will press upon your heart to give something more than you normally give. So you have the sporadic. You have the sacrificial. Here's the third, and this is where we're going to camp. You have those who handle their money with a system. Come on, put this word system in the comments. Come on, put this word system in the comments. A system of giving. A system of handling your finances. Come on, put that word system in the comments. This is where you should live. This is where I want to get you. This is what this teaching is designed and tailored to. This is the end goal for this series, to bring you from just being a sporadic giver to being a systematic giver, to having a system of giving. I personally have a system of giving. I'm not telling you to do something that I don't do. I have a system of giving. Every week, I'm going to pay that 10% tithe. Every week, I'm going to give my pastor, Bishop Brian Keith Hodges, 5% of my total income every week. Every week. Now, I'm moving from just giving to the church to financial management at all. Every week, I'm going to put 50% of my check into our family account. I'm going to put another 10% in savings. Each of the savings accounts gets 10%. The investment account get 10%. And now that I got Deuce and Kendall are going to get $5 a piece. Every time I get paid, I have a system of handling my finances. Why? Because this system keeps me from being sporadic. This system says that I'm intentional with my money. I have a plan for my money, and I can do everything I need to do with what I have. Why? Because I sat down and I put together a plan based on what I believe about money, and I set up a system. I can't go and buy no Gucci belt because it don't fit in my system. No Prada bags, no Louis pumps. Okay, that's for the women. I can't go and buy no $1,500 piece of equipment to put in this car that I've been working on for the past 2 years in the garage because it doesn't fit into the system. If it doesn't fit into the system, oh, I know it's tight, but it's the truth. And part of the reason why I'm teaching this is because so many of us are over here in sporadic when we really need to be in the system. You need to have a standard on how you handle your money. So, Paul's philosophy, I'm moving ahead. Paul's philosophy on financial stewardship answers the 6 research questions. 6 research questions. Who, what, when, where, why, how. If you read 1 Corinthians 16, verse number 2, you're going to see that Paul answers every one of these questions. He answers the who question, he answers the what question, he answers the when question, he answers the where question, he answers the why question, he answers the how question. He answers each and every one of these questions. I want to share these answers with you. Let's look at the verse. On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save as he may prosper, so that no collections be made when I come. On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save as he may prosper, so that no collections be made when I come. Paul is going to answer all 6 of these research questions with this one verse. Come on, put the word who in the comments. This is the first question. Put this word who in the comments. Who needs to give? Who needs a system of giving? Who needs a system of managing their finances? Who? That's the first question. Let's read the text. On the first day of every week, who? Each one of you. Who needs to have a system of giving? Each one of you. Who needs to have a system of managing their finances? Each one of you. Paul is not leaving anybody out. Whether you have a whole lot or you have a little bit, you need a system of giving. You need a system of managing your money. If it's a whole lot, you need a system. It's a little bit, you need a system. Every one of you, each one of you needs a system. The first question is, who needs to manage their finances well? And the answer is you. Why are you teaching this, Pastor? I'm teaching this while I'm talking about the who. I'm teaching this because Greater Beulah, since 2020, has paid off $250,000 worth of debt because of the giving of the members of this church. While at the same time having to write benevolence checks to get people's lights turned back on. Who needs to manage their money? We have paid off $250,000 worth of debt since 2020 and have had members of our church who couldn't meet their rent, couldn't meet their mortgage. Who needs a system of financial accountability, financial steward? You do. We receive benevolence so that we can be a blessing to people who are having a hard time. But it's more important that we teach you that you need a system so that you don't end up over there, so that when the church comes out of debt, you're out of debt. So that when the church bills get paid from your offering, I wish I had somebody to help me tonight. When the church pays their bills off of your offering, you have your bills paid. Why? Because you've already established a system. You already have a plan. There's an intention. You know what you believe, and you know how to behave with that money that's in your pocket. Who needs this? You do. You do. On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save as he may prosper, so that no collections be made when I come. I don't care if your bank account has so many zeros on it, you can't see the end of the number. You need a system. I don't care if you got dust in your bank account. There's a minus sign in front of the number on you. I don't care if that's your situation. I'm not shaming you or downing you or talking about it. No. That's not what this is. What this is saying that the way you get that minus sign from in front of that number on your bank account is you put a system in place. A plan, set some intentionality so that you can manage your money well. So the first question is who? Here's the second question. Come on, put this in the comments. The question is what? Now the question becomes what? Not just who needs a system of giving, who needs a system of financial management? What do I do? Tell me, Pastor, what do I need to do? I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to read 1 Corinthians 16, verse number 2. On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save. You are to put aside and save. All right. Come on, put that word save in the comments. Save. Put aside and save. It's interesting that Paul uses a Greek word here, thesaurizo. It means, and the word here means to keep something safe for some future event. this really interested me because it suggests that the money the Lord has entrusted you with is in danger. It suggests that the resources that God has entrusted you with is in danger. What's the danger that your money and resources is in? Your desires, your lusts, your cravings. I'm finna put something out there. If you can identify with this, I want you to put a 4 in the comments if you can identify. Don't put it in there until I tell you. Anybody ever set some money to the side and then you wanted something and it started bothering you because you had the money to do it even though you set it to the side? It was like, if I just get that over there, I can do this. If I just pick this up, I can get this. Oh, and here's the phrase that my dad would say. My dad would say, and that money started burning a hole in your pocket. If you can identify with that, go and put a 4 in the comments. Put a 4 in the comments. If you can identify with it, that money started burning a hole in your pocket, and even though you had set it aside for some future event, it was in danger. Why? Because you wanted something. You wanted it, and you wanted it bad. We're here talking. Listen, I done got hungry and had some money set aside that I said I wasn't going to touch. And my stomach started having a conversation with my wallet. Y'all ain't got to be honest with the preacher, but I know I'm telling the truth. My stomach started having a conversation. You know you got it over there. You ain't going to use all of it. I'm talking good in this room. You ain't going to use all of it. You're just going to use a piece of it. And so the reason why you set it aside, you put it out of view, is to protect the money from your cravings and your desires. Now let's raise this up another level. Let's bring this into giving. This says that you should not decide what you're going to give while you're in church. It should have already been put aside. The Lord's money should have already been set to the side. Unless the Lord has put a sacrificial gift on your heart and he presses it upon you while you're in the service and you're adjusting what you've already planned to give, your giving should be planned before you get here. Why? Because the idea is, as you keep setting it to the side and saving it on the side, it's going to grow. Over time, you setting it to the side is going to grow. And so Paul is saying, I'm coming in a few months, I'm coming in a little while, and I'm going to receive the offering. So while I'm in transit before I get there, so you'll have a substantial offering. Set you a piece aside to the offering this weekend. Next week, set you a piece aside, and next week, set you a piece aside. You got 4 weeks in a month. Every week, set you a piece aside so that when I get there, you've already prepared your offering. I'm ahead of myself in this. Now let me throw in some syntax. Syntax says that this is a present active, which means this is continuous action, which is to restate what I just stated. That you don't just do this one time. You can't put money in savings one time. You got to keep on putting money in savings. And that's why I've automated my system so that all I got to do is make sure the money is there. And my system is going to put some money in savings every week. For me, my family, for my children. Why? Because this is continuous action. In fact, the suggestion is that this is an action that started in the past, that's continuing in the present, and has no contemplation of completion in the future. Run it back. It began in the past, it's continuing in the present, and it has no contemplation of when it's going to end in the future. So it is just something that I do. It is a part of who I am to set 10% in every one of my savings accounts every time I get paid. It's just a part of my philosophy about money. It's a part of my philosophy. Who, what? Here's the next question. Put it in the comments. The question is when. If I'm doing all right, go ahead, put that win in the comments. If I'm doing all right, let me know. I know it's a little rough. We don't have these conversations often. When, let's read the text again. When do I use my system? Forgiving my system for financial management? On the first day of every week. Oh God, it's right here in the Bible. It's in the Bible. How to do this is in the Bible. It's in black and white. He says, on the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save. Now, we can be surface. We can be surface. The surface here is that the first day of the week, Sunday, was worship day. And so, before you go to worship, set your money aside. Before you go to worship, allocate your funds to where they need to go. That's okay. That's okay. We can go with that. But there's another level here. The first day of the week was payday. You work Sunday through Friday, Sunday to Friday. Sabbath is on Saturday. No work is done on Saturday. But when you go to work on Sunday, and you get that check on Sunday, the first thing you do is set the Lord's money aside. That's narrow, that's the text. Set your offering aside the day you get paid. Let's raise that up in general, okay? Do your budget, allocate your money on the day you get paid. I get paid on Sundays. Deacon Bell, Brother Johnson, Deacon Hornsby, they're going to come into all three of them are going to come into the office. They're going to bring me the financial report for the day, and they're going to have it folded in half. They're going to have that financial report folded like so. And when I open that financial report, in there is going to be my check. And when I leave the church, I'm headed to the bank, because my only job in my financial system, my only job is to put the money in the bank. And once I put the money in the bank, I've set all of our bills to automatic withdrawal. Why did you set it to automatic withdrawal? Because I'm not going to forget to pay my bills. Only thing I got to do is put the money in there, and it's set up. Wife and I, First Lady and I have spread our bills out over the month so that we can set those bills on automatic withdrawal, and when the time comes, that check, that amount of money is withdrawn from. All I got to do is put the money in the bank. Not only have I set my bills to automatically withdraw, I've set the transfers to our expense account, the transfers to our savings, to our investments, our transfer to our children. I've set them where on the appointed day, I don't have to touch nothing. Greater Beulah is going to get her money on the appointed day, and I ain't got to do a thing. Brian Keith Hodges is going to get his money, and I ain't got to do a thing. Our household expense account is going to get its money. Kendall and Deuce are going to get their money on the designated day. Why? Because I got a system. I planned it before I got the money. Lord, I wish y'all would listen to me. That means I need a budget. Am I doing all right tonight? I need a budget. I don't care if it's typed out on your computer in an Excel sheet. I don't care if you put it in your notes in the notes app on your phone. I personally have a form that I created and printed off that I write out by hand. I have my projected, what I plan to spend, and what I've actually spent, and I have it written down on paper. Why? Because I got a plan. I'm intentional. I got a system. Paul says that when you get paid, you need to set your money aside. Because you want to know what's going to happen if you don't set that money aside when you first get it? It's going to be a sale. I'm going to tell you, hey, I'm very transparent with this. I'm letting you in my business a little bit just so you can kind of get a picture of this. I can't go on Amazon.com. I can't go there. I'm going to see a book. Every one of them books, just about every book I buy is no less than $10 for the Kindle book. And then when I buy the audio book, it's going to be $12, $15, $16, $20 to buy the audio book. And then if it's a book that I'm really interested in, I'm not just going to buy the Kindle. I'm not just going to buy the audio. I'm going to spend another $17 to buy the hard copy, so I can have it on my shelf, you understand? Because I pastor Greater Beulah, and Greater Beulah don't have no slouch for a pastor, so when you walk in his office, you look in his office and you see books everywhere. He studies, he's learned, he's educated, cultured. But that, okay, let's put that together. So the before tax, the Kindle was $10. The audio book was another $15, so now we're at $25. Then the hard copy was another $15. I done spent $40 on one book. I can't go by the Robe catalog. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Go by. I don't have a problem with shoes. I don't have a problem with clothes. Got a problem with robes. If I wanted to wear a different robe for just about every Sunday of the year, I have enough clerical garments to dress in a different arrangement of clothing every Sunday of the year. That's how many of them I got. But buying robes don't fit into my system. Oh, and they not cheap. They not cheap. I got a project out right now that costs $400. $400 to sweat up. So because I know that I'm inclined to spend my money, I got to have a system in place already to safeguard me, to protect me from that. Y'all know we like to eat. Come on, y'all help your pastor. Y'all help your pastor. Y'all done got quiet on me. Ain't nobody giving no hearts, no likes, no nothing. I'm out here on the deep end by myself. But does it fit into the system? Does it fit into the budget? Because by doing this at the first of the week when I get paid, you know what happens? I know how much I have that I can spend on the books. I know how much I have so that I can go to Longhorn. I know how much I have so that I can get a robe if I have that much. I wouldn't know that if I didn't do it first. On the first day of the week, I know, y'all tired of the pastor. Come on, put when, excuse me, it's not when, this is where. Let me correct that. The next question is where. Come on, put where in the comments. The question is where. Let's read the text one more time. On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save as he may prosper. Let's read it in King James. Upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store as God has prospered him. Now, you can't really see the where on the surface. You got to dig into this word. This word aside, lay by him, is this Greek word, hoiotoi, H-E-A-U-T-O. And here's what it means. It means to be at home. It means to do it in private. Now y'all let me talk to you right here. It ain't nobody's business how much money you make. It's nobody's business how much money you give. And so the way Paul protects your privacy is by telling you to do it in the privacy of your home. Get your gift together at home. Do it in private. It's nobody's business. It's nobody's business how much I give. That's why I haven't given you no number. I gave you percents. It's not my business what you give. So what do? We prepare our offering at home. We take care of our business at home. Now let me add another caveat here. Now some of you, like your pastor, may need to invite a coach or a mentor into this private area, this private space, to coach you, to teach you what to do so that you can do what you need to do. Let me say this to you. I am 35 years old, and I got about a good 30 years of pastoring left on my agenda. Me and the Lord has already had conversation. At 65, I'm not going to stay and tear no church down because I've went longer than I should. Me and the Lord already talked about it. 65, I'm going to the house. And if me and the first lady decide we want to buy an RV or jump on a plane and drive or fly from one side of the country to the other, coast to coast, border to border, and around the world, 165 hit, that's what we're doing. But I can't do that if I don't start preparing for it now. And so I have somebody in my life, let me back up. So one of the blessings that this church gave me is a financial package, and in addition to the financial package came a financial planner. Somebody to tell me, hey, you can be a little more aggressive on that investment. You need to put some money over here. Take some of the money you got here and put it there. It ain't nobody else's business. But to help me get to where I need to be, the Lord allowed me to bring somebody into the privacy of my personal finances to help me. And you don't need to be so proud that you won't let somebody help you. Now, I ain't telling you to tell the world your business, but there are some people that can help you get on the right road. Because I'm telling you, 65, bake me a cake, sing me a song, give me a hat, let me go home. Because my heart grieves because I'm watching certain pastors stay past their time, longer than they should. Why? Because they never prepared to go home. I've watched people who are working while they should be at home retire. Why? Because they didn't make no preparations. Do it now. Do it now. Where do you do? At home. In private. Yes, invite somebody in to help you, but it ain't nobody else's business. It's nobody's business. I got 2 more questions and I'm going to stop. Come on, put the question why in the comments. The question is why. I've worn y'all tired. Y'all done stop talking to me. The question is why. Let's read the text again. On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save as he may prosper, so that no collections be made when I come. This one's going to be a little tight. Y'all love me? Y'all love me? Y'all love me? Gotta make sure y'all love me before I say this. This is going to hit a little hard. Paul says, go on and do it now, so when I get there, you don't have to beg. You don't have to scrape and scrounge up money to meet your obligations. Go ahead, handle your business now so you don't have to beg when it's time to receive the offering. See, Paul is up in Macedonia. And Paul is writing from Macedonia to Corinth saying, hey, I'm coming to Corinth, and I'm going to stop in Corinth. I'm going to pick up your offering, and I'm going to go on to Jerusalem. And when I get to Jerusalem, I'll deliver the offering to Jerusalem. Now, when I get there, already have your offering together so that you're not trying to scrape up an offering once I get there. You're not trying to scrounge some up. You're not trying to beg. Hold on. I don't have to beg you to do what you could have already done. That's giving. Let's go to the broader spectrum of this. Set your system and plan in place. So when it's time for you to pay your bills, you're not scraping and scrounging trying to pay the bill. You don't have to beg nobody to let you hold something to the first of the month because you've already handled your business. Why do I need to do this? I need you to do this so that there won't be any collection, so that we don't have to scrape and scrounge and beg and plead. And I'll say this, and I'm going to wrap up. I'm over time, and I feel y'all closing up on me. Y'all tired of me. One of the things I thank God about pastoring this church, I've never had to beg you to give. Now, I may have pressed upon you a little bit, but I've not had to beg you to give. I haven't had to be no auctioneer trying to get an offering. I mean, I got 100, 100, 100, 100, 50, 50, 50, 50, 25, 25, 25, 5, 5, 5, 5. I ain't had to do none of that. We need to give. This is the need. This is where we are. And you've responded. Now, do the same thing at home. You set that money aside. Allocate the money to where it needs to go. When you get paid, in the privacy of your own home, possibly with a mentor or coach, so that when the time comes, you're not scraping and scrounging. You're not begging and pleading. You're already ready. Here's the last one. Come on, put how in the comments. Come on, put how in the comments. All right, I'm having a little difficulty here. Let's see if we can't fix it over here. The question is how. How? Read the text one more time. On the first day of the week, each one of you is to put aside and save as he may prosper. Now, this word prosper talks about a prosperous journey for things to turn out well for you. Okay, great. Now, let's look at some other translations. Let's compare the translations. The Amplified Bible. He says that is in proportion to your prosperity. All right? Good News Translation says it's in proportion to what you've earned. The NIV says that it's in keeping with your income. Paul says, I'm not asking you to give what you don't have. I'm asking you to base what you're going to give on your income. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't try to impress anybody. Do what you can with what you have. I read this as I was preparing this lesson. The author said, if your outgo exceeds your income, then your outgo is your downfall. It has to be in keeping with your income. How much money do you make? I'm not asking you to tell nobody. I'm asking you to establish how much money is coming into that house so you can know what you can work with. See, give your tithe, give your offering, set your money in savings, pay your bills. Well, Pastor, I ain't going to have nothing left over. But everything is taken care of. I'd rather be broke with all my bills paid than have a pocket full of money and my lights are off. He says that we do this in keeping with our income. And so, yes, my tithe is 10% of my income. Well, Pastor, do I tithe off of the net or the gross? Here's your answer. Is the net what you really made? Was that really how much you prospered? Or is the net what you made minus the taxes that were taken out and the insurances that were taken out and whatever other deductions that were taken out? For some, it would be child support or spousal support or whatever. Is that what you really made? Because if your net is what you really made, then tithe off the net. Oh, Lord, I got to stop. I got to stop because y'all, yeah, I feel it now. Pastor, you meddling. Let me show you one more scripture, one more translation. I want to show you the New Revised Standard Version. This is a pro tip. On the first day of every week, each of you is to put aside and save whatever extra you earn. So you went to work this week and you worked some overtime. Don't budget the overtime. Don't budget the bonus. Put it in savings. Use it to give. That's literally what this says. Save whatever extra you earn. All right. I'm going to stop. Were you blessed tonight? Listen, I got so much more to tell you. I'm just stopping. I'm not done. I'm just stopping. If you were blessed tonight, go ahead and put some fives in the comments. A little bloody, but blessed. If you were blessed by this, go ahead and put some fives in the comments for me. Now, I'm going to be teaching in this way for the rest of the month. I'm going to be preaching in this way the rest of the month. So prepare yourselves. Let me say this. God would not have me teach this if he didn't want to give you some money. If you're hearing me teach this, it's because the Lord wants to change your financial situation. But before he can change your financial situation, he has to change your financial philosophy, how you see money, what you believe about money, how you handle money. And you can't just base it off of what other people say, what you pick up here, what you pick up there. You got to base it off of the Word of God. So he wouldn't have me teaching this, talking to you in this way, if he didn't want to bless you financially. So prepare yourselves. Stretch your capacity. How do I stretch my capacity with money, Pastor? Go to work on how you handle what you have. Go to work on how you handle what you have. And see if when you start managing what you have better, if you don't start noticing the needle move a little more. Yeah. We're all in, and we are inviting people to be a part of worship. We'll be in the sanctuary Sunday. We'll be in the sanctuary Sunday. We're going to postpone the Lord's Supper to the second Sunday, but we will be in the sanctuary worshiping Sunday. On the second Sunday, we'll do the baptism. We'll do the Lord's Supper. We'll issue out ministerial credentials. We'll do that on the second Sunday. I'm asking us to pray for your pastor this week. This weekend over into next week, I'll be traveling and preaching. I'll be doing a pastor's installation Sunday. And so I'll be away. I want you to still come to church. Still come to church. Be here even though I am not. I'm doing what's required of me, preaching in pastor's installation, imposition of the laying on of hands to install a new pastor into a new church. And he's entrusted me with his installation. So I'll be away doing that. I'll be away preaching revival next week. We're still going to have Bible study. I'm still going to go live. I'm still going to teach. I'll just leave teaching and heading to preach. Amen. So y'all be prepared for next week, okay? I'm asking you to continue in prayer in the appointed hours of prayer. I'm asking you to be in Golden Ages Bible study tomorrow morning. Brother Reggie will be teaching our Golden Ages Bible study. We're so happy to restore him we're so happy to restore him to his teaching role in our church. Yeah, we're so happy to restore him to his teaching role in our church. And we look forward to all of the ministry meetings going on this week. We know deacons are meeting this weekend. Music minister is meeting at the appointed times with Minister Marlon. And we look forward to all of that. Now, I want you to be a blessing. If you desire to give to the kingdom of God, you can do so. GreaterBeulah.church/giving, $, Greater Beulah. Givelify, Greater Beulah Baptist Church, the mail slot 613 6th Avenue, Columbus, Georgia, 31901. If you're a member of our church and want to contact the deacon, you can do that. Or if you want to bring your gift with you to worship, you can do that as well. Now, if I've been a blessing to you and you want to be a blessing to me, we are a Galatians 6:6 church. Let the one who is taught the word communicate with him that teaches in all good things. You can do it in this way, $PMKM on the Cash App. You can put pastor or pastoral gift or something to that effect in your memo via Givelify. If you're going to be in the sanctuary, our offering envelopes has a space designated for pastoral gift. And if you're going to be here when I'm here, you can always shake my hand. I want to speak a word of blessing over you and your gift and your loved ones and show you my great appreciation for your generosity. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. We've gone a little over tonight. We've gone a little over tonight. We look forward to next week and going a little deeper. We look forward to teaching you from 2 Corinthians chapter 8 next week, okay? I love you so much. I'm always praying for you. I want the Lord to bless you in a major way. Look this way. Let me bless you, and we'll consider ourselves dismissed for the night. The Lord bless you, and the Lord keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you, and the Lord give you his grace. The Lord turn his face towards you, and the Lord give you his peace. In the name of the risen Savior, we do pray and ask it all. Follow peace and pursue love. Go in peace and serve the Lord. I love you so much. Until the next time.